30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. My name is Margarita Varela. On behalf of the pastors and the board trustee, we welcome you to Colby Memorial Temple for our Sunday service. To begin our service, Robin Matutino will light up 3 lights symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Please stand for invocation. Infinite Spirit, we thank you for bringing us together. May the words, the music, and everything that transpired today be uplifting and healing to us all. And with that, we say, Amen. Amen. Our vocalist today will be Jamie Osborne.
If you can please turn to page 175, Be Happy. Be happy, for bright is the earth with sunshine and music and love. Each day it grows richer in wisdom and worth, and more like sweet heaven above. Then let us be happy, sunny and bright in the face. Oh, let us be happy. Earth is a beautiful place. Be happy, for fountains most sweet are gushing along bright years, and pathways so pleasant are waiting our feet with joys more abundant than tears. Then let us be happy, sunny and bright in the face. Oh, let us be happy. Earth is a beautiful place. Be happy, who loves the black clouds which lower in their bedding so deep. 'Tis better to walk in bright rainbows than shrouds. 'Tis better to smile than to weep. Then let us be happy, sunny and bright in the face. Oh, let us be happy. Earth is a beautiful place. You may be seated.
That was beautiful. Located on the handouts are the Declaration of Principle. Please join me in reciting this principle together as one voice. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that the communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever you would that others should do upon you, do you also upon them. We affirm that the moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature, physical, and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes through mediumship. Together now, we're going to recital the prayer for spiritual healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Now, for those of you who will wish to receive spiritual healing, please take a seat along the wall and go to the next available healer. While the healer works, the rest will join me in a guided meditation. Do we have music?
Yes.
Okay. Together, let's take a deep breath. Allowing this vibration to help us settle in the here and in the now. Again, consciously, we take another breath. And let's recognize our readiness, our willingness. And again, we take another breath as we recognize this energy. Let's embrace the energy of spirit. So that divine spirit that it is within us. Let's invite it in so we can feel the illumination and we can remember our essence. Visualize yourself in this moment to be standing before a gateway. Take a breath and notice how your entire life comes in front of you. But that is your life that is behind you. So before we step through the gateway, pause and think about your past. All the learning and the joy. Be grateful. The victories and the sorrows. Everything It took you where you are in this very moment. Release it. Letting go. Or letting go the past. You reclaim your power. Breathe. Breathe in and now. And now, see yourself going through that gateway. Visualize beautiful rays of light that touches your life, that touches your heart. Your heart is one with your essence. And understand and is capable of letting go. Become one with your heart. Become conscious that your essence is light, is love, divine. Love is what love you, in you and through you. Light is your essence. And your existence is a gift in this lifetime. So remember, embrace it, and experience this wholeness. Peace, peace, peace. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Path, path, path is your gift today to carry on as the day goes by and we celebrate these holidays. In our next breath, remembering and knowing that we are surrounded always by spirit. Start moving your toes, your fingers. Bring a smile to yourself. Take a deep breath and open your eyes. You gotta take a couple of breaths here because I think that we all were guided here, and I am thankful. If you have received a healing resulting in a correction or improvement, please complete the yellow card right here. It's also at the back of the temple. Fill it in and give it to one of our pastors. With that, I say thank you. Our gratitude to Lori Carter, Marty Hathaway, Darlene, my apologies. I gotta come back here. Reverend Judy Cooper, and I'm sorry, Deborah. Who else did healing today? I'm sorry? Robin Matutino and Croquette. It was out of love, everything that they did, absolutely. For our next, so we're gonna bring again our vocalist, Jamie Osman.
If you can please rise. If you got a handout, we were going to do it out of the hymnal, but Eileen brought us these lyrics and we like these. But we're only going to do the first two verses. So it's Silent Night. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
I'm supposed to sing that? Okay. Solstice night is gone, all is bright. Nature slumbers in forest and glen, till in springtime she wakens again. Sleeping spirits grow strong. Sleeping spirits grow strong. Silent night, solstice night, silver moon shining bright, snowfall blankets the slumbering earth. You first welcome the sun's rebirth. Hark, the light is reborn. Hark, the light is reborn. You may be seated.
Okay. That was beautiful. Thank you. Okay. For today, we have a treat. One of our own, an extremely active person in our camp, Reverend Maeda Jones. A little bit of her background: she received a bachelor degree in education, French language, from the New York State University. She completed her master and her PhD in political theory at New York University. She has trained here in Casadega Spiritual Scale at the Arthur Findlay College for Psychic Studies in England and in the Inner Quest Foundation in British Columbia. She's a medium, she's a teacher, she's a friend of many. She loves to bring messages from spirit and from pets as well. So please help me to welcome Reverend Maeda Jones.
Good morning and happy holidays. Doesn't it look great in here? Let's just give a hand to all the people who made it look this way. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking these are Christmas decorations, right? But actually, they are, but they're much more meaningful than just Christmas, because these decorations have been hung and put up for centuries before we even knew there was a Christian religion. And that's what we have to remember as we go into this season, that it's about much more than just the Christian Christmas. Now, I want to go back. I'm going to be talking about the decorations in a little bit, but I also want to talk about the greeting I gave you, which was Happy Holidays, not Merry Christmas. And that's what we always said in New York City. I lived in New York City for a long time. And I guess when I moved to New York City, I was still saying Merry Christmas, and found out that it was better to say Happy Holidays, because New York City is filled with people from all over the world, different ideas, different cultures, different approaches to things. And knowing that, New Yorkers try to be more inclusive by saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. It's neutral and it's inclusive, and spiritualism is inclusive. Those of you who have studied a little bit about the spiritual religion know that we don't feel, now you've read our principles at the beginning of the service today, and they're very general in a way, and we don't feel that they should contradict some maybe other dearly held beliefs that you have. As long as you believe in them, if you decide to call yourself a spiritualist, you are one. But you could be a Jewish spiritualist or a Muslim spiritualist or any kind of a spiritualist, really, because we don't feel that our beliefs are contradictory to other beliefs. We're just almost like a supplement to them. And so we're kind of a melting pot, just like this country is supposed to be a melting pot. And we're inclusive. And so I think it's part of the spiritualist spirit also to be inclusive. Now, recently, this whole idea of saying Happy Holidays has gotten some people up in arms, offended. You may not be one, but you may know somebody who is, and hopefully some of the things that come out today in the talk will help you maybe either change your mind or somebody else's mind about saying Happy Holidays. December marks the winter solstice, as we just sung about, and you know, it seems to me, I didn't see all the Lyceum, but it seems to lead beautifully into what I'm going to be saying today. And so it's a time of winter solstice. All of December is. It doesn't belong to Christians. It doesn't belong to any one group, and all over the world, people celebrate winter solstice. It dates back to way before we knew anything about Christian and their symbolism. And so I'm very happy personally if you say Merry Christmas to me, or you can say Happy Hanukkah, or you could say Happy's good. But I was raised a Christian, and that might sort of color my reception of that greeting. But there are other people who take issue with it. And so we need to take that into consideration. December doesn't just belong to Christians. So that's just me. I'm not offended by it or anything, but some people are. They get upset because they feel like Christians feel that Christmas is the only holiday or celebration worth noting. And so they feel left out. It's not inclusive. And really, why would we hurt someone if we knew that we were hurting them? If somebody says to you that offends me or that hurts me, why would you? I've heard people say, well, then they ought to be less sensitive and they ought to get used to it. Why would you do that? How unloving, how unworthy of a spiritualist or any other person who deems him or herself spiritual. When you see something like that, you try to accommodate and be kind to everyone. And so, I mean, if you use that attitude in a marriage, you wouldn't be married very long, would you? But we talk about world peace, and yet, you know, we want to just go ahead and offend people, and they ought to get used to it. So I think we ought to maybe rethink that attitude. So let's talk a little bit about these decorations here and what they actually mean, not just to us, but to other people around the world. And we have to talk about winter solstice, which we just sang about. And winter solstice was something that was celebrated by all the so-called pagan, I don't like that word pagan, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to use it. Pagan people around the world, the Native Americans, the Persians, the Chinese, all the Europeans, everybody celebrated winter solstice. So what was it? Well, now just imagine, go back to before we have had all the luxuries and the safety that we have now. Winter solstice, the crops were all in. It was all done for the year. You probably didn't have much to do outside now until the spring came around. The animals that didn't seem likely to make it through the winter had been slaughtered. There's no central heat. There was no lighting. And it was just going to be real dark and cold for the next few months. Although, by the time winter solstice rolls around, you know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because as we go forward after the, 22nd of December, we're going to have more light increasingly. So there's just sort of something to look forward to. And so it was sort of like the final hurrah before all this set in, and they were going to have to just hunker down for a while. And many people didn't make it through the winter. They were either too sick or too old, or there was starvation also. So it was an important time for these people. And so at winter solstice celebrations, there was feasting, there was gift giving, there was partying like crazy. And they were just kind of celebrating before all this other stuff set in. Now I want to go back to the Roman times, pre-Christian Roman times, and they celebrated something called Saturnalia. Now Saturn was the god of agriculture. So on December 17th, their celebration of Saturnalia came about. Same thing, gifts, feasting, partying. They had a tradition also where masters served their slaves. And so there was that sort of goodwill thing built into it too, just like in our modern traditions, it hopefully is. Then we have the Celts. Now, let me say one thing about the Celts, because we think of Celtic Ireland. And Ireland, fortunately, because it wasn't invaded by the Romans, has been able to preserve some of its traditions. But the Celtic Empire, the best ruins from the Celtic Empire have been found in Germany and Czechoslovakia. The Celts were clear across Europe, and they were a very important group at the time. And like the Romans, they had their celebrations, the same thing with the winter solstice. I don't want to leave any cultures out because there are many cultures. I'm just using this as a couple that are more familiar to us. Well, then we have the early Christians, and they're looking around at all this revelry, and they're thinking, that's not appropriate. We don't like this too much. How are we going to curb this? Well, they knew they couldn't take this partying away from them. Forget it. So they had the idea. Now, we don't really know when Christ was born. There are a lot of different ideas about that, but they just decided, well, how do we bring him around? Well, let's throw the Christian thing in here. Let's throw the birth of Christ in here and see if we can kind of pull them off all this partying and drinking and that sort of thing. And so that's really how the Christmas season came about. Let's put this in and let's calm them down. Pope Gregory in the 6th century finally made Christmas part of the December celebrations, and so it was. And I just challenge you to think back to your last work Christmas party, and ask yourself whether the Celts or the Christians won. Okay, seems a lot more like Celtic to me, but but anyway, so that's how that was born. And of course they adopted the pagan symbols that were already in place. So let's look at some of those pagan symbols, because we've got them all over the place today. And maybe, even as we talk about tolerating other differences, the people who do get offended by Christmas, if they knew a little bit more about some of these things, they'd realize that they were sort of included in it too. The mistletoe was magical and life-giving. It was green all year long, and that was huge to the people of this time. It stayed green. It meant it didn't die. It went through the winter, and it was the same in the spring. And that was a very respected thing, if you will. And so, so that was important at this time of year. The Druids also thought that mistletoe protected against thunder, which maybe we use that in Florida here. And then there was a tradition of meeting under the mistletoe to mediate, to arbitrate, and you couldn't bring your weapons with you under the mistletoe. You stood under the mistletoe and talked things out. And so it was a peacekeeping kind of a thing. And so it's not hard to understand how from that we evolved into love under the mistletoe and kissing and that sort of thing. But it was actually once about lovingly solving your problems, if you will. And it was seen as a symbol of fertility, and just a very important thing to the early people. The Yule log was burned at a time when there was no light, no warmth, and so the Yule log was also a celebration of the light and the warmth to come in the coming months. Bells warded off evil spirits, so they were important. The evergreen, in the Celtic tradition, evergreen trees are very, very important in the Celtic tradition. In fact, you don't have a sun sign in the Celtic tradition, you have a tree sign. But the evergreen, once again, was that everlasting green. The Egyptians felt that way, the Celts, the Druids, the Romans, the Vikings, you name it. The evergreen was highly respected and highly symbolic of a permanence of life. The holly, sacred plant to the god Saturn, used in Rome for gifts to honor him, was also used by the early Christians to protect themselves, because in the early days, Christianity was not popular. You could lose your life over being a Christian. So you would hang a wreath on your door, and that would imply that you were not Christian. And so that it was seen as a protection and also a warding off of evil. And guess what? The holly's red and green. So guess where Christmas got its red and green theme from? That's where it comes from. Santa Claus came out of all of this. The Norwegian god Odin had a horse with 8 legs. And somehow now we've got a Santa Claus with 8 reindeer. Right? Turkey had this is in Christian times, early Christian times, had a monk named Nicholas who went around giving to the poor and the sick. And so that probably came into the whole mix also. Elves, we go back to Scandinavia and Germany and Britain. Elves they believed in, and they rewarded the good and played tricks on people for bad behavior. So now Santa Claus has reindeer and elves. And the Christmas tree, the symbol of life. Okay, Native Americans use the evergreen also in the sweat lodges to ward off colds, the inhaling. And it was the reminder of spring through those dark, dismal days, candles for the darkest hours. So we see where all this has gone. We've taken these things, and it's natural. With the Christian as a Christian thing evolved, yes, they used the pagan symbols and made them part of what we associate with Christianity today, or with Christmas today. Now, it always seemed to me that in New York City, Christmas time was a more festive time. And, you know, we're people who understand energy. And I think just the fact that we celebrated all those different views and celebrations raised that energy a lot. A lot of people go to New York City for Christmas. I might think of maybe going to a log cabin in the woods for Christmas, but people go to New York City. Well, yes, it's the Christmas tree and everything, and they want to see that sort of thing. But there's a certain energy about New York City when everybody's doing their thing in the month of December. And I miss it. I really miss hearing about, and you know, even Hanukkah, I miss hearing about Hanukkah. You don't hear that much about that down here. So it was, you know, just a recognition of all traditions and a certain peace that's made between people. Let's all have fun with this. Let's all celebrate in our own way, and let's still be a unit. People talk about peace a lot, but I don't think many people really think about peace a lot. Do you want peace, or do you want your way without fighting? When you think about it, people really don't want peace. They want to have things their way, but they don't want to have to fight about it or get killed over it or anything, but they will. And so what is real peace? It's got to do with listening. It's got to do with caring and compassion, awareness of other people's feelings and a respect for those feelings. And that is the spirit of what Christmas is supposed to be and what all the other celebrations are supposed to be, because we even see back in the Roman times and the Celtic times that there was a certain amount of gift giving and well-being and sharing. That's what the season's supposed to be about, not people getting offended. Okay. It seems very much in vogue right now to be offended and to hate whoever doesn't agree with you. And hopefully we're going to realize the direction we're going and get away from that at some point, because it's not pretty. It should be a time of happiness, shouldn't it? It should be a time of sharing, and we should make it happy for everyone. And I want to finish by reading one of my favorite quotes. I have a poster, a framed poster in my office with this on it. And I just love this quote. It's by Wade, who is a cultural anthropologist. And it goes, "The world in which you were born is just one model of reality. Other cultures are not failed attempts at being you. They're unique manifestations of the human spirit." And I just find that so beautiful and so appropriate for this time of year when we need to be looking at tolerance. You know, a lot of times I'll see Christian writings and they'll say, well, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus think? Well, we could ask ourselves that now, whether we believe in Jesus or not. What would Jesus think of some of these attitudes right now? And so I'm hoping that everybody in here has a loving, inclusive holiday worthy of spiritualism. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Maeda Jones. I mean, she gave us plenty to go out and celebrate and be joyful in these holidays. Okay. During our musical interlude, we will be passing the basket. We thank you in advance for your generosity. And you're going to be funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't this time of year magical? Not only is the season magical, but we are magical, right? So one of my idols passed away recently, And I wanted to sing this song because I've sang this since I was a little girl on the porch with a wooden spoon. And I'm pretty sure most of us know this song here. So if you know it, please sing it with me. Because I believe that the words of this are very spiritual, and I think that we should take heart to this message because we live this every day, whether we realize it or not. Hold on. Whoop, went way ahead. Hold on. Come take my hand, you should know me. I've always been in your mind. You know I will be kind, I'll be guiding you. Building your dream has to start now. There's no other road to take. You won't make a mistake. I'll be guiding you. You have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. You have to believe we are magic. Don't let your aim ever stray. And if all your hopes survive, destiny will arrive. I'll bring all your dreams to life for you. I'll bring all your dreams to life for you. From where I stand, you are home free. The planets align so rare. There's promise in the air, and I'm guiding you through every turn. I'll be near you. I'll come anytime you come. I'll catch you when you fall. I'll be guiding you. You have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. You have to believe we are magic. Don't let your aim ever stray. And if all your hopes survive, destiny will arrive. I'll bring all your dreams to life for you. I'll bring all your dreams to life for you. So believe it, so feel it. Hey, you have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. You have to believe we are magic. Don't let your aim ever stray. And if all your hopes survive, destiny will arrive. I'll bring all your dreams to life for you. I'll bring all your dreams to life for you. Happy holidays. Thank you, Olivia.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. Infinite intelligence, I give you thanks for the gift that we have received. I give you thanks for each person that is here. May the camp use this lovely gift to better our camp and to upkeep our beautiful temple. And we say, and so it is, amen. Okay. A few announcements. I'm sorry. Next Wednesday on December 7th, our message barrier demonstration of spirit will be Lori Carter. Next Sunday, December 11th, our speaker will be Gretchen Meissner. And our Sunday Lyceum, our speaker is Reverend Judy Weaver. Every Sunday, we have Adult Lyceum, also known as Sunday School, from 9:30 to 10:15 here in Colby Temple. To participate in absentee healing, please print the names and the first initial or the last name of a loved one, friend, or even a pet in our healing book at the left corner of our temple. Flyers for the camp events are on the back of the temple. We have an activity calendar and a church bulletin in your hymnal for you to take home or share it also with a friend. Please make sure that you know this. Coming up Friday, December 16th is our owl candlelight service. My apologies for not having the flyer, but it's on the back. So we inviting you to come over. Is it at 7 o'clock at night?
Yes.
Okay, 7 o'clock. Meditation, music, spirit readings, so come over and light up our temple with your presence. Today, becoming a spiritualist from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Andrew Jackson Davis building, meditation and mediumship development with Robin Matutino, $10 for that. Also today, crystal sound healing with Dr. Louis Gate from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Andrew Jackson Davis building, $25. You can always visit our website, casadega.org, for our monthly information and upcoming events. Now we're going to bring again our vocalist, Jamie Austin. Thank you.
If you can stand and turn to page 128, Joy is here today. Life abundant, love divine, there's no limit, all is mine. I am one with all I do, while keeping God in view. Joy, joy in everything I say, joy, joy in everything I pray, joy, joy, joy within my heart today, joy is here today. Of my talents I can choose, those I use I will not lose. Life gives back what I have shared through others who have cared. Joy, joy in everything I say, joy, joy in everything I pray, joy, joy, joy within my heart to stay. stay. Joy is here today. Thoughts and feelings are like seeds I can plant to meet my needs. Happiness and love must grow with, that is what I sow. Joy, joy in everything I say. Joy, joy in everything I pray. Joy, joy, joy within my heart to stay. Joy is here today. You may be seated.
Ooh. And now we are going to welcome back our message bearer, Reverend Maeda Jones.
Hello again. Okay, I'd like to start with this gentleman here right up in front with the vest. Hi, how are you? I've got a lady around you. I'm thinking it's a grandmother, it might be a mother. Sometimes I'm a little bit off on relationships, but a very strong character, very, very determined lady. Would you know who that is? Not so far? Okay, let me work with it a little bit. I'm just feeling a lady who you might not have seen her as strong. It's just more of a strong will. You know, she feels very traditional in some ways, but one of these people, you just can't get her down. You can't stop her. And I'm just feeling always, no matter, I don't feel an easy life with this lady. I feel like she just kept trucking and just continued on, and she always had a strength about her. She's also very to the point when she talked about something. And I'm feeling her around when you were small. And I'm feeling her very protective of you. And I'm feeling her around you now. So I don't know if there's maybe something you've been going through or not quite feeling too good about, because I'm feeling her pull into your energy at times now, just to hearten you a little bit, to give you a little bit of extra positivity, I want to say. So whatever it is you're going through, you know, she just wants to help you get through that, because she was a strong lady, but it wasn't because there were no challenges. She had plenty of challenges. It's just like she always just powered through them. And now she's wanting to lend you that energy. So I'm just going to leave you with that, okay? All right. And I'd like to come to the lady in red here. Yep, that's you. Hi. And I have to ask before I even start with this, do you have a cat in spirit?
Yes.
Okay, there's a cat around you that wants to say hello. Okay, and while I was talking up here when I was giving the lecture, I just keep seeing this little cat around you. And I don't know if she's recently passed, but you know, a while ago. Yeah, but anyway, hello from your cat. You know, they wait for us, they do. But I've also got an interesting lady around you. And I'm more inclined to say maybe aunt, or, you know, something not direct line, but very much her own woman. Okay, just sort of marched to the beat of her own drum and did her own thing and thought her own ways. And very kind of colorful character, more of a right brain type of a lady than a left brain. Okay, and just did her own thing and didn't really care what anybody thought about it. Okay, and she would have been the kind of lady that if dad and mom said no, she would maybe say yes, or let her do it, or that sort of thing. You know, I feel like she was always kind of in your camp, and you know, still is. But she thought for herself, and I think she would have been open to this sort of thing too. I have the feeling that she would have, you know, even if she didn't talk about it, she would have been open to, you know, spiritual things like this. But anyway, I just feel like she was in control to the end. You know, she did things her way, and you know, sometimes at the end people try to take your freedoms away from you. But I feel like this lady was just determined to do things her way, no matter what. And her energy is very much with you. I think she very much feels that you're like her in some ways, and wants to support you. I don't know if there's something coming up possibly where you're a little bit afraid to do it or reluctant to do it. And she's there going, you know, just kind of egging you on and saying, do it, do it, do it. You know, don't be afraid. Just do it and you know, it'll work out. So I'm going to leave you with that. Okay. All right. So I think I want to come to the lady in the brown sweater. Yeah. Hi. Hi. And there seems to be a lady around you who would have passed. She would have had a hard time passing, I think. I'm feeling like a prolonged fight, if that makes sense. And she was a real strong lady, and she didn't give up easily. And I'm just feeling her just bound and determined to survive. Basically, I don't know if it was a cancer or something, but it just feels like a prolonged thing going on. The kind of a lady that always did for everybody else, and wasn't necessarily that good about asking for help. So she, I think she got some of that help at the end, but it was sort of a reversal for her. It wasn't something she was especially used to. And she was used to taking care of herself. And I think I get the sense of a lady who might have, notice I'm not saying who it is, I'm not sure who it is, but I'm feeling possibly raised her children on her own or without much help or something. There's that sort of a feeling with her, if I just had to do it, you know. And so she, yeah, she didn't willingly go, although she wonders why now, because it's just so much more comfortable, and that body must have been a good place to get out of. But she fought it to the end. I think she was more concerned about the people she was leaving than actually her own well-being. And just wants you to know that she's very comfortable now. And, you know, we forget that passing away is a reunion for the person who passes. And we may be grieving them, but this is a reunion. And there's very much a feeling of being back with people I love. And she would want you to remember that too, that as sad as it may be that she finally went, that she's in a happy place now. And very much around you whenever you want her, but happy. Okay, and so I'm going to leave that with you. See if I have one more. I think I have time for one more here. You know, Jonathan, I'm not supposed to come to people I know, but I don't know that much about you. So I'm going to come to you anyway, okay? All right. Because I have a man, I don't know if this is a grandpa, maybe. He feels like he would have been very prominent in your childhood. I see you following him around. Does that make sense? You know, not necessarily he was talk, but I feel like you just loved him, loved to be with him, and wanted to see what he was doing. And you learned from him. You learned a lot from him, but I don't think he was a real talkative man necessarily. And I also have a sense of, I don't know if it's, if it was a physical ailment or an injury or something associated with this man that kind of kept him. It didn't keep him from doing anything, actually. He was pretty hard-headed. You know, he was going to do it anyway. I'm not sure if it almost feels like it was an injury. Okay, yeah. You know, yeah, I feel like he, with great difficulty sometimes, did what he did, but he did it anyway because he wasn't going to have anybody do it for him. He didn't like the job anybody else would do anyway. So he was going to do it, but he dearly loved you. You know, wasn't the huggy kissy kind at all. So he wouldn't have told you that. You just had to know it. You just had to feel it. And I think you did, because I just see you with him a great deal. And he, yeah, he went, there was a lot wrong with that body by the time he left this earth plane. But he's another one. I don't think he liked doctors either. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was going to cart himself off to the doctor and see what he could do or something. It's like you go naturally. You know, whatever happens to you, it happens. You take the best care of yourself you can, but you don't go to those darn doctors. Okay. But he's just with you today, hard-headed as ever. But you know, they always say still waters run deep. And that's what I want to say about Grandpa, you know, still waters run deep. Okay. All right, so thank you.
Thank you. Tiene que esperar. Okay. We would like to remind everyone that we will have our afternoon message service that it will start at 12 noon here in Colby Temple. A group of medium and student mediums will be giving spirit greeting to as many individuals as they can reach during that hour. Everyone is welcome. We also encourage you to visit our bookstore today, which is open from 12 to 5, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Please rise for our closing hymn. And after that, we're gonna remain standing. Our associate pastor, Reverend Judy Cooper, would come and do the benediction.
Page 203, let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, children all are we. Let us walk with each other with perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, may this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I didn't know those last few lyrics. Join with me in closing. Infinite Spirit, we just want to thank you for the blessings of this time of year. As all these traditions, all these symbolisms have come together, that we can celebrate this time in a unity. We ask for unity for all of us, all through our country and through the world. It's in the name of truth we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was so nervous. I was so, I don't know why I was so. It is a tough one. Yes, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it.